Okay, we're live. We're going to get started here soon. And to start us off, I'm going to go ahead and already get my screen shared so we can see some cool video of Hyde City Band. All right. Okay, everyone could please find yourself in the first couple of rows since we're a more intimate group tonight. Feel free to find a seat, please, so we can get started. All right. Hopefully we have more people join us. I was getting called all day today and this week, so I'm surprised there's not more, but this is so great that you are all here. So my name is Merle Jones. I'm the director of the Public Heritage Museum. And tonight we're going to get to hear from several alumni. I know some people here are also alumni, and we'll have an open mic chance at the end to share about your experiences, and then get excited as we launch a fundraising campaign so we can move the Pride City exhibit from the State Fair over here. I wanted to call in that we have our next Heritage Night for Native American Heritage Month with Tonio Lefebvre, who did an exhibit, who helped with the Indigenous Peoples exhibit earlier this year and is actually helping us expand it this year. And he'll be talking about the evolution of textiles in the Indigenous Southwest. We'll actually be bringing cool artifacts, a lot of which are authentic or that he has recreated. And on that same note, the Pueblo Archaeological and Historical Society is actually hosting Kealo Winters, who was raised on Navajo lands and is a big leader in teaching Navajo culture and language in the normal school curricula. And so he will actually be speaking again as part of Native American Heritage Month, but at Pueblo Community College as part of the archaeological group's efforts. They're a partner organization with us, so I wanted to give them some information out here on this event. All these flyers are over there. And then Song of Pueblo, has anyone heard of this? This is a musical group, so you probably have. So Song of Pueblo is coming up. They're having a free community concert. They had one earlier this year that was ticketed, and this time it's free. So I actually am a holder of some of those free tickets. If you want me tonight, I can just give you some. And they also will probably have some at the door. It's this weekend at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Again, those flyers are all over there at the Memorial Hall, so not here at Pueblo Memorial Hall, but they have lots of them. And then also like to invite you all to our holiday party. Holiday party, no worries, will be on Saturday, December 9th, here at the museum in the evening, 5 to 8. So we'll have some of our authors here, doing book signings as well as a holiday gift sale, supporting a lot of local artists and makers we have in our gift shop. So I want to take a quick, brief moment to introduce you to our new curator in training and heritage education coordinator, Emily Wilson. I'll just let her say a few words about herself. She just joined us.
Hi, yes. So my name is Emily Wilson. Wonderful. We have some newcomers. That's awesome. Yes, so I am the what is the title?
What is my title? Heritage Education Coordinator and Curator in Training.
Curator in Training, yes. So I know that we will be having your exhibit moved here, which I'm super excited about, which means that we'll be working together a lot. So right now I am dressed like this because I am currently going, after I speak with you, I'm going to continue working on the revitalization of our Indigenous Peoples exhibit. So that is, I just want to kind of put the faith out there that this is the kind of dedication and work that we'll be putting forth with all of our exhibits. But yeah, I won't speak too much about myself because this is about you.
Okay. You'll learn more about her in the coming days and weeks. So thank you so much. Round of applause, Emily. And thank you for reminding me because I completely did not invite you all to our huge next free museum day, Indigenous Fusion, which will be reopening our Indigenous Peoples exhibit, which she's going to go paint right now. We'll have cultural dances, also by another staff member of ours who is a Native American heritage leader here. We'll have a Dia de los Muertos altar where you can even bring pictures and things representing your loved ones who've passed on. And also our artist for next month, which has the same style of art, Dave Sanchez for our first Friday. So that's November 3rd, all day from 11 to 8 p.m. So we hope to see you at any of these events. And at the end, I'll be passing around pledge cards if you're wanting to donate to specifically this exhibit. We would love that because right now we're at ground zero along with your alumni association. We're working together to do that. So wanted to invite any donations for that. Just a heads up, I'll be passing those out at the end of the presentation. But to start us off, I'm going to have Rick join us so that he can share about his background with the Pride City Marching Band. And then we'll actually have someone come in virtually from California. I'll let him introduce himself. He couldn't be here in person, but he came this way. And then we'll have an opportunity for open mic at the end for people to stand up where you're sitting or up at the front to share about your experiences as we all hear about this awesome band. We also have YouTube videos and clips that actually I wanted to play one clip of one while we let so while they get brought in with the band. Okay, come on up, Rick. Let's have a round of applause.
Thank you for being here, everyone. I'm so glad that the chills don't go away. That's why we're here. I'm a native of Alumni, and I lived close to South High School. As a child, I loved to hear those drums. Man, did I love to hear those drums. I would throw on my jean shorts, nothing else, my bicycle, and I'd follow my ear. South High School was, of course, rehearsing in the fall season, but Pride City Band was double the size. And they'd come all through Elmwood and Surfwood, and sometimes they would stop and they would play. I had no idea what I was in for. The clarinet was interesting for me. Music, because I'm undiagnosed dyslexic, that is probably a blessing in disguise that I could play by ear. Wow. And when I got in my first year, Mr. Thomas asked me to audition before I even started high school. And they were giants. They were so damn tall, and they were good at what they were doing. And I was very intimidated. Rocky Keith, I had 2 trumpets and a piccolo with me, and we were close and we were scared to death. And we rode on the first bus. You know what I mean. Little did we know that we'd be learning and memorizing music and halftime shows. We did a halftime show on the street. And for the bicentennial in 1976, the flute section formed the 76, which we got an aerial shot, which was pretty great. I've made some lifetime friends that I still have today, and I'm grateful for it. In those 5 years, I saw a lot of change. In fact, we went from South, and then we went to Centennial. Sectionals started at 7 a.m. So it was a commute as we slept in the back seat or gave it a try. But the bus trips, we can't even talk about those bus trips. Those bus trips were something else. I made several touchdowns on a Continental Trailways bus, and you don't go down the middle. That's where all the blockers are. All the blockers right down the middle. The one thing that I noticed the most is as we grew and we were big, we had a chance to go to San Francisco, 1974. I was a sophomore. We sold anything and everything from candles to greeting cards. And slave day, we would work our butts off to make money, raking leaves or helping clean out a garage. We even painted a house one. But we made it. We get into the San Francisco University dormitory, We do a couple rehearsals out on the lawns of a makeshift soccer or football field. And the night has come. It's my only night parade. We're on Market Street, downtown San Francisco. Thousands of people. The Lions International Convention, and this is the parade. We sat by people from Norway. It was incredible. And as we formed together in close ranks, we made it out onto the street. It was finally time to get to business and be on the parade. What we didn't realize is that when the drums and we went full open ranks, that the buildings were so tall, the reverberation of the drums just gave you the chills. And we were just getting started. It was just the most incredible feeling. As we approached the judging stand and the floodlights and the bleachers and all the ribbons and the color, we looked so good. Our lines were so straight. And we really had some competition on an international basis with Mississippi. They had flag girls on each rank, which kind of hid their curves. We thought that was a little unfair. Majorettes took second in the world, and Pride City Marching Band took sixth. It was a trip to remember, and then we flew to LA and did the tourist thing and then came home. We were given the key to the city at the airport. What a send-off that was. A marching band in an airplane. It was something to behold. We had a blast.
Yeah, we did.
It was something that I'll never, ever forget. And now, even now, when I hear the drums at Central High School from my backyard, I can still feel the chills. These lifelong friendships that you make and the acquaintances, and then those that are departed that I remember in my prayers, they all had a different story. And for some reason, there was a thumb drive, something going on back here. I remember everything. I remember all Gina Montieri with the trumpet, and man, could she play that trumpet. There were times with Nina Avalos and those cymbals and what she could do, that skinny little flocka thing, and she could do all those things like nobody. But I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for you. I feel like I'm amongst family. And my favorite memories of Mr. Thomas was he was admired, he was respected, and he expected excellence. But my most favorite memory and my year ends with Pride City was Ray Inigas, who would conduct Zacatecas, the Mexican national anthem, which I come to love and still love that song today. With those long memories, I hope you have them all as well. I'll give up that microphone and give it to Ray, who I still admire, and Brenda, and a special hello to them as well. Thank you so much.
Perfect segue. Okay, so before I get him on, Ray Inigas, he's actually on StreamYard, so give me a moment to get over to that screen. So he'll be our next speaker. And I know he's backstage, so in this platform. Okay, let's see if it works. Go ahead and try.
I'm here.
Yeah, can you hear? Woo! Here, I'll turn it so you can see everyone. There, he can see you and they can see. Yep. All right, go right ahead, Ray. Floor is yours.
Thank you. I think the first and most important thing is we should really be thankful to the Heritage Society to continue this legacy, because let's face it, without this, there would be no Pride City. I mean, there's a lot of memories, but not with all the memorabilia and all of the other added, goodies that we're putting into this museum. I think it's wonderful that they're doing this. So thank you to them. Definitely thank you. Now, I think a little bit of history. I'm not gonna preach to you, but Pride City started in 1959. I know that because I marched in it, and it was the worst experience of my life. I had never known. I was 14 years old. Yeah, 14, going into ninth grade, and I sweat bullets. It was tough. The director was Larry Curtis, who was the first director of Pride City, he and Sid Rosen, and they worked our fannies. We finished a parade down at Union Hall, and he marched us all the way back to Central. That's where we were rehearsing at the time. So we marched from the courthouse to Union Avenue, over the bridge, back to Central. And he cussed at us the whole way. Well, he really didn't cuss, but he wasn't quite happy. So, but we speak about all of the years of Pride City and all of the work. And Rick mentioned the San Francisco trip was really one of the highlights of our career as a band. Brenda and I live in San Francisco now, and we've driven that route from the Embarcadero up Pine Street to Van Ness Avenue. Take a left on Van Ness and go all the way down to City Hall. It's a 7.3 miles. And remember how we used to march at Centennial every morning? 7 miles a day we used to march every morning. Brenda wants to say hi too. She's got another meeting going on, but she wants to sneak in here and say hi.
See everybody. What a great thing. Thanks you guys for keeping Pride City memories alive.
Okay. She's got another meeting in the house. We're meeting crazy here. But I think it's very important that we think about that and the history. It's so important. I think Pueblo has a real history of music. There has been so much music come out of Pueblo that it's phenomenal. And I think Brenda and I will be moving back in a couple years. She's going to finally retire. I retired completely in 2013 from professional conducting. But we're going to move back, and I'm going to get involved with more of the history of the music that came out of Pueblo. There are some phenomenal musicians that came out of this city. And I mean, I could go on, but that I don't have the time for that. But back to Pride City, my years were 73 to 77, 5 years. They were some of the finest experiences of my life because I got to experiment. I did things that, you weren't supposed to do on the street. My motto was always music in motion. We always kept moving forward. And I always said that people come to a parade to be entertained, not to see how straight your lines are. They come there to forget their daily problems and they want to be entertained. So, yeah, I did Zacatecas because it was Fiesta days. And we had a lot of hooping and hollering all the way up Northern Avenue because of it. They loved it. And that was the whole goal, was to entertain. So, again, I don't want to take a lot of time, but I know I gave some plaques to Sam Dazzle a week ago. We lost a couple of great members of this group, Bruce Bradshaw and Vance Barrett. I miss them dearly. They were great buddies. Vance was the best man in my wedding. So, I miss him dearly. They were great guys. They were really instrumental in keeping the group going. Just all in all, it was fantastic. So, again, I want to thank the Heritage Society. I want to thank you, members of Pride City, for keeping it alive in your hearts. Because let's face it, it's here. We did it. We were the best. We really were. No year was better than any other. They were all great because we all participated and kept it moving. So with that, I want to say thank you. Keep music alive in your hearts. Really, music is the key. We got to keep it going because if it's not performed, it dies. Okay? So thank you all.
Okay, wow, we are way ahead of schedule, so we have plenty of time for more people to talk. We want to start with Al Cazetti, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Go ahead and feel free to come on up here. If you're wanting to stand right here, this is the best spot so that we can capture what you're saying. In fact, do you want the podium?
No.
I'm just going to move it.
Please say your name again.
It's Al Cazetto. I'm the director of Pride City Band with Joel Berry and me. And Ray Harlow was my first drum major. Phil Salazar, which we call Groucho, was our second. And then one of my favorites was Mike Bernal, who couldn't be here tonight. I called him up, Tony Herrera. And I had the first female drum major, was Kim Rose, is her name now, and she was my first girl drum major. I marched through Pride City in 67, 68, 69, and 70. I directed it through the late 80s into the 90s. Came back because the director was going somewhere. So I came back and did it again for a while. And then finally, I had to stop. And my knees wouldn't allow it anymore. But I have some stories. We had our second year, when Groucho was our drum major, we had 289 people in the marching band. We had 32 piccolo players.
Wow.
Yes, that's why I'm gray. We had a huge band. And when we were in Cheyenne, the judges were on top of a hotel building. So you did a left-hand turn, started your march, started to play, and then you did a right-hand turn. The band was so large, we would do our left-hand turn as the front of the band's doing the right-hand turn, and the back of the band still doing the left-hand turn. And so being the show person that I am, we had 7 Continental Trailways buses pull up, and we would march single file 2 blocks away into the parading area. It's just they could have given us a trophy right then and there. Mike Rudall, if you don't know him, he was a character. He was my drum major at South, and at South High School, we were the only Pueblo high school to take state 2 years in a row with marching band in the 5A division. And Mike was my art instructor, and Tony was my drum major. And but we're marching in that parade, and it's the second day we did 2 parades up there, and I used it to teach the halftime show for the Bronco games. And so I would teach the show. Joe Oliveri would teach the music. We did monster music, but the thing I remember most, I had Todd Skoglund as my right guide, front right trombone player, and we're marching down, and we finished past the judges' stands, and we're a little, we're not relaxed, but we're kind of relaxed. And Todd's talking to me, and he says, "Look." I go, "What's going on?" And these 2 girls, they were good looking. They run out in the middle of the street. Mike Ronaldo is a tall, skinny, white tux, tails guy. They get on either side of him, and at the same time, they both grab his ass. The front rank almost fell over. I had to hold me up because I was laughing my ass off. And I told Ronaldo tonight, because I keep in touch with him, he's doing. He's upstairs. He's up in Denver, and he helps with a marching band up there. And I told him, I said, "I'm going to tell that story. So thank you so much." But we had a section leader named Sherry Wojcicki, and she was the piccolo section leader, and she was tough. So we were at Great Hargrove was in charge of having us go places. Well, we had a ton of kids, 288, 279, almost 300 one year. And so he decided we're going to Durango. But we had to stay at the school in Durango, but you had to walk 6 blocks up the street to the pool. And I said, "No." He says, "Well, what am I going to tell him?" I said, "Tell him no." I said, "I'm not going to put them." I said, "How are we supposed to take care of these kids? These are young girls that don't dress and don't wear a lot of clothing when they're with the band." I mean, they would change clothes right there on the bus, So I said, "We're not going to do it. We'll go to Cheyenne." So they put us on at the college, and we go up there, and of course the people in Durango are very upset with us. And I said, "I don't care." I said, "I cannot allow high school girls who wear tank tops and the smallest shorts in the world to go take a shower, come back, and probably just wear their towel back to the gym. I'm not going to allow it. It's not going to happen." So we're in Durango there, and Sherry Wojcicki decides to sabotage the boys' bathrooms. And I forgot the trumpet player's name that I'm making the band run. And I said, "Take them for a lap around the school." I didn't know how big the freaking college is. And so he takes off, and I said, "Okay." And then I said, "Bernal, you're the last one." And I said, "If you pass anybody up, we're going to do another lap." So I said, until somebody tells me who threw the toilet paper down the toilets and plugged up the toilets. So anyway, we finally stopped because Oliver says, it's almost 3 miles around the school. I said, oh, okay. So that was that story. But we had a drum line. Some of the guys are gone. John Corbett, Monster, drum, Patterson, Patty, who just passed away. Diego, who just retired from being a sheriff. We would march with 8 snares. I had a kid named Mike Pittman, big, old, tall, African American kid who could not, the only reason he was in high school was to march. And he wasn't the best snare drummer, but he was my snare drummer, and so he was my center snare. And he used to get a beer bottle, and he would crack it on the side there, just crack it, hit it on the sidewalk. And then he would have a sectional. And the first day of sectional, we had these freshmen, and they go, ooh. And so he would say, anybody that jacks around during rehearsal, I'm going to get this beer bottle, I'm going to break it on your forehead, and you go like this. So they didn't know that he already cracked it. So Greg Hawthorne, who I love to death, says, well, I can do that. And he grabbed the beer bottle and he smacked himself in the head, passed out, and I said, somebody move him out of the way, we gotta start marching here. And all in all, everybody says, well, you were a monster director, you had a great band. I said, I didn't do anything. All I did is give them tools to help them build a foundation. They built the house. And I used to tell them, I said, you can build a shit house or you can build a Taj Mahal. It's up to you. I said, but if you want to build a shit house, we rehearsed at City Park. I said, we will continue to run around that lake until you decide to build a Taj Mahal.
Yes, you did. I remember that.
One time I said, we were doing a fair. We were doing the city county fair. And we had and I heard they were going to have a milk and cookie party the night before. And I said, so I don't care if you have that on and go to the drive-in and everything and have your milk and cookie party, but you better be ready to play the next day. I said, because I'm not going to tolerate any nonsense. Well, they weren't quite ready. They were sweating bullets. And they were just, we did, we were going to do Here Comes That Rainy Day. And it was a mellophone solo, and Bernal had not learned it. And I said, okay, we're going to do Here Comes That Rainy Day. And he goes, no, I can't do that. And Tony Herrera was on trombone, and I said, we're going to do Here Comes That Rainy Day. No. So we did it, and they sucked. And it was terrible. And I said, okay. So I made him stand at attention because that's what we did. I made him stand at attention, and then I go, Joe, go get us 2 of those big gulp Pepsis. And he says, okay, we'll go get it. And I walk around as they're standing at attention, drink that Pepsi. He says, I bet you that milk and cookies really taste good. We had a great time. All in all, I did Pride City for 18 years. I loved it. I had a great time with it. I had some of the monster people. I had kids that would do their senior year. I had kids, 5 trumpet players playing with the Blue Devils, drum the bugle corps. I had Carl Cook, and my ballad player, playing with the drum and bugle corps. I think he played with the Marine Corps band stationed in Washington, D.C. I had Sam Stephen playing with the Casper Troopers, center steer Pat Amon, who just passed away, was the percussion instructor for the Bronco drum line. He was the big guy there. We had wonderful musicians, and there was a great 18 years, and I would never trade it for the world, except for some of the bus trips. I finally, near the end there, the last time we would go to somewhere, and I turned to Mike and said, turned to Eric Gonzalez, who I used to call Top Tone. And because he looked like a little Indian when he first started. And I said, Tonto, I said, this my butt does not fit this seat anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. I said, I'm done. I said, I can't ride this bus anymore. I said, I don't mind the kids. I love the rehearsals. I remember this last story here. I came back, I was coaching baseball at South, and I was a summer coach. And my kids were playing, and I was coaching baseball. And I drive through the park, and Pride City's rehearsing, and Eric comes over there, and I says, what do you want? Stops me in the middle of the street. He has his badge and his gun, so I had to stop him. He says, the band director is going to New Mexico. So we need a band director for the last few months. And I says, well, you know, he said, just come tomorrow. So I show up, I listen to him, and I walk around, and the trumpet section is going, and they're rehearsing it. And I forgot the name of who was the lead?
Donnie.
Yeah, Don. Yeah. Anyway, they're rehearsing like this. They start the march at the beginning and they play all the way through. And then they start the march at the beginning and they play all the way through.
Yes.
And so I go over there to him and I says, what are you doing? He says, I'm rehearsing. And I said, that's no way to rehearse. I said, you're practicing mistakes.
Yep.
And he says, and you are? And I said, I'm your worst effing nightmare.
Exactly what you said.
I did say that. And so they haven't won, they haven't even taken second place for what, 6-7 years?
Yeah.
And we lost first place by 1 point.
Yeah, we have done out here.
Yeah, but it was, so I stayed another couple of years to make sure they want to stay for a trophy.
Yes.
And then I left. But I'm excited about this. I was hoping more of my age or my kids would have been here. But there they are. And they're sober. So
I'm gonna go ahead and pass around these pledge cards as we watch a short video, then we'll have more open mic. I see people who brought some cool stuff. So we'll definitely have lots of time for that because we're ahead of schedule. So I'm gonna go ahead and show one video here. I'm gonna put it on our streaming here. There it is. Okay, I'm not sure what year this is. I didn't. Yeah. So I think this is 1971 as well, but I can't tell. Late 70s, yeah. It didn't say it in the information. I'm gonna just fast forward a bit. There must be another float. Parades are wild, huh? And then I think I showed part of this one earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and do that one. Well, I don't know if they put music behind this. It's not the original sound. Yeah, but I want to hear the original sound. But we'll hopefully get more of that soon. Here we go. Move that. All right. So I did see some people out there who might have wanted to share a bit. Let me get back over to the right screen. Too many tabs. There we go. I think I'd like to see if you'd like to share some.
Oh, no.
Yeah, or you just want to show those off?
No, actually, I wasn't sure if you were going to have a display or not. I
Yes.
wanted to make sure that you had these pictures that I had.
Yeah,
So I
perfect.
I tore
Well,
them.
that's great because we're actually I'll just take a moment to answer your questions with, I'm passing those pledge cards around, so we'll hopefully have, that exhibit here next year. And so I wanted to see if anyone else wanted to get up and share it all about their experiences. We do have Ray who texted me that he had a few more things he wants to say at the end, so he'll close us out, but we have actually plenty of time for at least a few people to share more, any stories, memories, or how the band was to them before we close out with Ray at the end. Yay! Cool, I thought you might. Yeah, come on forward. And feel free to introduce yourself once you get up here. Let me make sure the video looks good. Perfect. Perfect. I'll move this up. Well, and stand like right there. Then you'll be in there we go. Perfect.
Everybody knows I'm a talker, so I had to stand up. I was in Pride City Band from, I want to say 72 to 75. I graduated in 76. And I was in Pride City Band when we were invited to go to San Francisco. My memory's not as good as anybody else's here, but I was quite the rouser, I can tell you that much. Rick and I would entertain on the buses. There he goes. We all had songs that we would sing. We Are the Girls from the PC. I don't know if any of you remember that song. It was, oh my God. We are the, oh, I don't think so. I think Bruce remembers. Do you remember, Sam?
I vaguely remember.
It was passed on from God only knows what years, but we picked it up, and honest to God, we would just laugh our butts off because we were pretty young at the time. But they would say, we are the girls from the PC War Corps. We are the girls that the boys pay more for. Satisfaction guaranteed will fulfill your every need. And we would sing that and we would laugh. We never sang it out of a bus. And there was a couple of other ones that we do. We would have pylons, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, and everybody jumping on you, and you'd be gasping for air, and it was all fun. It was a family. That was the one thing that I found out about Pride City, is it was a complete family. It was not like high school. It was not like your friends in school. It was completely different. It was a family. You all stood together. You all protected each other. You all defended each other. When we used to, Mr. Thomas was our band director. Mr. Inigus came the year after, but the year I was there, I don't remember the second person. But what I do remember was being at Pitts High School, and we would march there, and Mr. Thomas would start running. All right, you guys, you got to catch up with me. And oh my God, I'm not a runner. So he would take off running, and here we're going. We're running around the track. He's getting us in shape. So we would do that every summer. And then one day, there was a car full of guys. I'll never forget this. We're all standing in line. We're all at attention. Everybody's at attention. The front row is there, and the drum major came over. Mr. Thomas came over and said, "You see that car back there?" They were really, oh, you guys over there, and they were teasing us and ribbing us and yelling at us, and we were not budging. Stood there. Someone said, "Okay, first row, put your instruments down." In unison, they all squatted, put their instruments down. Okay, on the count of 3, I want you to show them what we're made of. 1, 2, 3, the front row ran towards that car full of guys taunting us. And I'll tell you what, they got out of there very, very quickly. They didn't want to mess with the front row. We had some big boys in the front row. I played clarinet until the last 2 years, I think. And I did play the cymbals, and I played the cymbals. I had to be near the boys. I'm so sorry, but I had to. Rick and we would entertain on the buses, and it was clean fun. I would stand behind Rick, and Rick would put his arms behind me, and I'd put my arms through. And I'd be doing this number and doing this number to his head, and he'd be talking, and I'd be doing this number, and we would just make everybody laugh. We were quite the character. We went to San Francisco. Oh my God, San Francisco. I couldn't believe I was going. My sister Carol, her nephew here, her son is here, my nephew Nick, to represent my sister Carol. God bless her. She passed in 2010. I miss her so much. She became she was a clarinet player initially and became a flag girl and absolutely loved everyone, and I still love her. And I'm in touch still with a lot of her friends. But we all went to San Francisco, and it was a completely different life that I'd never seen before because I'm from Pueblo. I didn't get out much growing up, and traveling on the buses everywhere it was like total excitement all the time, that it gave me the travel bug. And right after I graduated from high school, I ended up leaving in the 80s, and I've been gone now for a little over 40 years, but I always come back. And when I read about Pride City being here today, I flew in yesterday. I live in Texas. I had to come down. I had to see all of you. And thank you guys for keeping it going. It's been awesome. And I'm glad to be here, and I'm really happy to see all of you. That's all I can say.
Awesome. I think we have time for at least one more share, and then we'll end with Ray. Would anyone else like to share? Yeah, come on up. We'll stand about right here or so we can get you on the screen.
Okay, Sam Dazzo. I was in Pride City from about 73 to 77, 78. So I was in there with Rick and Nina and Carol. Carol was such a sweetheart. Just loved her to death. Gina and Ruth and so many others. And I have all the stories from the bus rides and those great times, great parades and stuff. But I'm going to talk about the display a little bit. A few years ago, we got it started over at the state fairgrounds, and we started off in an old walk-in freezer that the display was set up in. We had one of the big Pride City flags that marched in front of the band as we were going in parades. We had that displayed in that walk-in freezer that you have to walk into. The power was turned off, so you weren't freezing. We had a couple of trophies in there, and that was about it. But essentially, it was Denise Tucci who started it. She had started a Facebook site for Pride City, and she started that. She had been collecting things, and then Rosemary Del Monte, bless her heart, she got involved with it, and what a go-getter. She was part of the state fair board at the time, so somehow she was able to get the state fair commissioners to agree on letting Pride City put a display in there, which we ended up getting a nice, beautiful size room. We ended up raising about $2,500, $3,000 for that room. We paid for it only one time, and we've been in there 7 or 8 years. The state fair doesn't give anything away for free. So, and I've worked out there at the fair for, Lord knows how long. I've done everything at the fair that you could imagine. But with that being said, they gave us the fair. Sarah Cummings, who was the state fair manager at that time, she came over to my boss and told my boss, Margaret Thornburg, if any of you know her, her husband is Tom Thornburg. He's a guitar player here for Fireweed. But came over, Sarah gave Margaret the responsibility of the Pride City display. So Margaret gave me the responsibility of the display along with the co-worker of mine, Lynn Brown, who has never been in a band in her life. So the two of us ended up having to take over that display. I'll tell you what, it was really gratifying because a lot of times I'd be in there. Tons of people would go in there not knowing who I was. You know, there'd be a few people that would go in there. Bill Thomas would go in there. He would recognize me. My cousin Dave Carleo back there. I followed his footsteps. He was a drum major over at Central, so I decided I better follow the family footsteps and do it a couple of years later. But, you know, so some people would go in there and they would know who I was, but I really enjoyed it when people were in there and I was in there doing something or just looking around and they didn't know who I was. The stories that you heard come out of people talking about it, they'd see a picture, a trophy or whatever, you know, you just hear these memories start coming out of these people. You wouldn't believe how many people actually started crying in that room. You know, I mean, it really quite special. And I would just kind of usually stand back there and not say much of anything. You know, then if someone would ask me something about it, because normally they'd see my lanyard with my state fair ID on it, and they'd ask me something about it. So I'd go starting off explaining different things to them. And it was just absolutely amazing watching people in that room looking at things. I remember one night walking in there and Bill Thomas was in there by himself. And he just, you know, it was a special moment because I mean, he had looked at everything on display in there. And, you know, he had told me, yeah, he'd been in there 30, 40 minutes just looking at everything. We sat and talked for quite a while, and he really reminisced about his times in Pride City and with all of us. So pretty cool, you know. And now, a couple of weeks ago, I met with Ray Inigus, who, you know, he took me under his wing when I was in the 7th grade. Great person. Love him to death. But he gave me a couple of different things that we're going to be putting in the new display for Pride City, along with I do have Sid Rosen's music batons that I've had those in the display. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it. Once it moves here, his family did ask that if anyone in town wants to use the batons, that I let them use the batons. So, you know, I'll abide by that. And if there's a certain band or something that wants to use Mr. Rosen's batons, we'll do that. And, you know, all of you that went to San Francisco with us, I'm sure you'll remember we gave Mr. Rosen some fits during that night. And I don't know if Mr. Rosen was one of the people who got on to Nina for going out late one night.
Yes. I got caught.
Yeah, she got caught. I think she went to see The Exorcist, right?
Yes, I did.
No, the state.
Oh, okay.
No, we went to, there were several of us that went to go, we snuck out. I didn't know we had hours and I snuck out and we decided to catch a trolley. We were scared to death in San Francisco at night. We made it to the theater. I'd never seen escalators in a theater before. And we watched The Exorcist and our eyes were just like this.
Oh,
A little tiny town. And yeah, I got in a lot of trouble.
That's going to be about it. If any of you have any questions about the display today.
Well, speaking of the display, my wife and I, Sherry, she was 76, 77 majorette. We walk in there, and there's her yeah, the picture, the lineup of all the girls, you know, back in the day. So I took a picture of it, and I brought it to a video place over here, and they put it on a floor. And I put it in a display case, and I bought some trophy figurines of a drum major and a music note, and I put it all together, and I gave it to her for Christmas. And there's her.
What again?
It was cool. So that display is
The one majorette uniform that we have in there, that was Kathy Pagano's majorette.
I was with her. It's a major.
So you would have been in the same time I was.
Yeah.
I was a tuba player, so I was way in the back. I never really got to hang out with the majorettes, but I did get to hang out with all the flag girls, which was absolutely wonderful, since they were right behind us. All right, thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you. I've already got one pledge card here. Feel free to leave them here. You can just pledge, and we'll follow up with you later. If it's a digital donation, or if you're able to, you can feel free to also give a cash donation in the envelope as well. I wanted to say, if that's not available to you, or you want to also volunteer, we'll definitely need volunteers to help bring that exhibit in. Here's an actual picture from the one at the State Fair right now. Originally, when a couple folks came to us about putting this exhibit here, so it could be a place that's always accessible with normal hours, and it totally makes sense given where we are, where Pueblo's story starts here at this museum. We went and saw it, and originally everything had to be out by August. The State Fair needed that space. They were changing things around, but thankfully now we have a bit more time, so we can do it the right way, and we'll be able to actually have a space in our exhibits, which I'd actually love to show us. After we hear one closing word from Ray Negus, then we will actually, I'll walk us over there. So if you'd like to be able to see the whole museum, in addition to see the space where we're going to renovate to make into the Pride City exhibit. So I'm going to go ahead and let Ray close us out, and then we'll get to go see the space in the exhibit. Also, there are some snacks and waters right over there. So I'm going to flip back over to Ray and add him onto the stage. All right, go ahead, Ray, you're on.
Thank you. You brought back so many memories of San Francisco. Do you realize that we took 2 airplanes to San Francisco? We're there for 4 days, went to LA, did all of the stuff in LA for $40,000. Think about that. We chartered 2 Western airlines. I remember there were Western airline planes that flew into Pueblo. We loaded up. First plane left around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. The second plane left later. And we did that for $40,000. And I don't remember if you all remember, but when we stepped off the plane in San Francisco, the coldest winter you'll ever spend is your summer in San Francisco. Trust me, it was cold. It's still cold. If you notice, I wear a high collar because it's cold. Brenda and I live right out of Berkeley, which is 10 minutes out of San Francisco, and it's chilly. It never gets above 80 if you're lucky. But during the summer, the fog comes in, and that's what makes it so beautiful here. But I also wanted to remind Rick Macaluso, didn't we kill a pig once?
Yes, we did.
So,
West Cliff, Colorado.
yeah.
They were burying a capsule. They buried the capsule of all the bicentennial, and we sure did.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights. 75. Not that we killed a pig, but we were the bicentennial band. The centennial for Colorado, the bicentennial for the United States. We were the official band, which was really pretty cool because we got to carry both flags. And the 76 year, we did something like 22 parades, if you remember, sometimes 2 a week. We were all over the place.
Ray, I'll remind you that you may not be aware of, but the day of the West Cliff capsule was the same day of the Big Thompson flood.
I know. That's right. That's
Oh.
exactly right.
Same day, and we were coming in from Whitmore, and the water was coming for the bridge.
That is correct. That's absolutely right. We were in that canyon, if you remember correct. And Fiscus, remember Fiscus, Gene Fiscus, the first bus driver?
Of course.
Yeah, you guys, we stopped at some little rest stop to get snacks, and Paul Hanley conduct a drum major that year, and the sky turned this ugly color, and I said, Paul, round them up, and he did, and people were a little ticked. I understand, and I told Fiscus, I said, let's get the hell out of this canyon,
Yeah.
and we did, and there were 5 buses, and he said, Ray, we're going to overheat. I said, I don't care. Get us out of this canyon. We got to a high point out of there, and we heard it about an hour later that the canyon was gone. So you don't realize how lucky we were.
That's true.
We were really lucky. You know, I don't like to go into those things, but it was scary. And one final thing I do want to say, if anybody knows where the score to Swingers is,
No.
I do.
it belongs in this museum.
I know where it's at.
That score was written and dedicated to the Pride City Band.
Right.
That was
It'd be
my
great to
year.
have a recording of that.
That was my year. Greg Hargrove has that score.
Well, it belongs in the museum because it does not belong to anybody except Pride City.
That's right.
So if you can find it, get Rosemarie and her legal powers, whatever she has to do, but get it in that museum because George Roach he wrote it for the Pride City Band, and the score says written and dedicated to the Pride City Band. It belongs in that museum.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, that's a great segue to say that we will. Thank you so much, Ray. Let's give him a round
You're
of
welcome.
applause. Thank you so much for coming from California. Awesome. Okay, well, we're actually complete for the night. And yeah, sure. I just want to say before I do that, I'll pass this around. If you guys have any pledge cards you want to turn in there, I'll just pass it around. Yeah, we'll contact you to get that digital one. We can do it tonight, but I'll just reach back out because I'm sure some of you might want to volunteer. Did someone have something else to share as well?
Yeah.
I would. So I took a picture of this and I sent it to Frank Breger.
Yeah.
Anybody have Frank Breger? So I asked him if he had any memories, and he texted me back, and he said something about a rubber duck. Anybody know the story about the rubber duck?
I don't know. It sounds
He said that he thinks he might have been calling out a group saying that they suck like a rubber duck, and that the group gave him a signed rubber duck at the end of the season. Frank's still around.
Yeah. Well, and that's great segue to say all those people that couldn't be here tonight, we'll have another Heritage Night like this when the exhibit is actually launched. But before that, we would love to have you come and volunteer. So we do have a place to sign up for interest. We also have a actual place to sign up for our newsletter in our gift shop, which I want to invite you to check out because we still have 30 minutes before we'll start cleaning up. So you can come check out. You can go check out the museum now. It's kind of like a secret insider bonus that when you come to Heritage Nights, we also let people go to the museum. And so then in addition, please do take some flyers for all of our upcoming events I listed at the beginning. Have some snacks. Try to minimize the snacks in the exhibit though. And then do know that the art and the gift shop items, including a book of Tamara's and some other people, are inside of the exhibit, inside of the gift shop, and it's all available for purchase. So thank you all so much for helping us get this kickoff for the Pride City Marching Band exhibit. Thank you. All right, see you guys.